Hey guys, it's Clayton from DeskRx, and this mobility video is going to be all about hamstrings. So with hamstrings, there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of things that we think we know about them, but I want to try and dispel some of those myths and really get into this area via your own body's ability. So when people think of the hamstrings, a lot of times people think of guys, tight hamstrings. So if you're a guy out there, I feel for you. My hamstrings are tight as well. But just aimlessly, passively stretching them from time to time is not going to help you acquire any more usable range of motion. So what we're really going to be working on is your ability to generate force in the front body to pull you deeper and to allow you to pull yourself deeper into that stretch complex in the hamstrings. So we're going to do that via tapping into pails and rails for the hamstrings. Okay, so just a couple things about hamstrings real quick is that when you're typically stretching them, I typically recommend having somewhat of a micro bend behind the knee, so a little bit of daylight getting under there. Especially if you have herniated discs, back issues, or have had sciatic nerve issues or nerve pain, or like pain or burning or tingling when you lean forward like this, especially with the leg locked out. So keep that in mind, micro bend, and you want to be able to target the stretch in the belly of the hamstring muscle underneath, not under the knee. Okay, so then, but to all the other individuals who might have knee hyperextension or hypermobile or no pain with that, that's fine. Your body can own that. Your body is familiar with that space, and if you can fold forward and pancake your belly on your quads with your hands flat on the ground and knees completely locked out and there's no pain, then that's a range of motion that you have, and we can work on training that, but that's not really going to cover here in this video. This will be more for getting more into the hamstrings via front body contraction. All right, so with hamstrings, and we'll start with the right leg. Okay, so we're going to fold the left leg in, and again, we're going to have that micro bend, heel on the ground. And what we're going to do is come tall, deep inhale, exhale, and we're going to fold forward, leaning with the chest coming forward. Okay, and again, you can exaggerate that knee bend as much as you want until you feel that stretch. So right now I feel a pretty gnarly stretch here in the back of the hamstring. I don't need to fold completely over to feel that. Okay, so tall spine, arching the lower back, leaning forward, heel on the ground, micro bend in the knee. So we're going to spend a little bit of time here just kind of passively stretching. And again, just deep belly breathing here, relaxing, hanging out. And just the thing on stretching is that stretching is totally kosher. You can totally stretch, but the difference is, what are you doing after you stretch? Same thing with foam rolling. What are you doing after you foam roll? Because hanging out in a passive state is really just passive, and you're not going to get lasting results. Now, if you're doing actual mobility work or mobility training, you're using your own body's force to generate you and pull you into the positions that you want to get into. And then that's sending the message to your brain saying, hey brain, I can own this. I pull myself in here. I can get myself out, as opposed to an external force like pulling on the mat, a limb, the ground, etc. All right, so we've been here for maybe about a minute or so. You can passively stretch for about 2 minutes and then get going in the pails and rails. So from here, again, leading with my chest, arching the back, and we've got the heel in the ground, micro bend in the knee, stretch targeted here. We're going to work on pails. Okay, so PAILS is an acronym that stands for Progressive Angular Isometrical Loading. Fancy, right? But basically what you're doing is taking yourself into the end range of motion, and you're driving force, generating muscular contraction in those lengthened states of the hamstring. So basically you're saying, hey brain, hamstrings can work here. And your brain's like, cool, we'll work there. So that's what you're telling your brain. And then we're going to do a rails contraction, pulling you deeper in. So go ahead and grab a tennis ball. I've got a TFC lacrosse ball here. So if you can steal a tennis ball from your dog, that's great. They might not be a big fan of it, but see what you can do. So as you're coming forward here, I want you to try and squeeze your core against your quad, and try and imagine that if I were to try and steal this from you, that you would keep it sandwiched in there. Okay, so the pales contraction, we're going to be ramping up from 0 to 25, 50, 75 max, okay? Driving the heel down for the pales contraction. And as you think of those quadrants, I don't want you to just 25, 50. I want you to slowly turn that volume up, slowly driving that heel down. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to 25. Arrive at 25. Slowly ramp up that contraction up to 50, 75, etc. All right, here we go. So knee bent, heel on the ground, tall spine. We're going to drive that heel down nice and smooth to 25% of your max squeeze. Feeling the engagement right in that mid belly of the hamstring. We're going to ramp up to 50%, halfway of our max squeeze. 75%, driving the heel down, feeling it behind the hamstring, not the knee. Good, and max, driving down, pales contraction. Good, freeze. We're gonna rails contraction, squeeze your core against the quad. Make the scale here underneath, read 0, and rails. Pull yourself further. In the stretch, hold. 2, 3, 4, and relax contraction in this new range of motion here. Good, return to your belly breathing. So for here, you may not have been able to tell because you're maybe struggling yourself, but basically I got about 10 to 15 degrees further into that stretch, okay? So it's not far. Your body is not going to let you bypass it more than 10 to 15 degrees. Okay, so as you do the pales contraction, you're telling your body, hey, I've got this range of motion. We can work with this. The rails contraction, smashing this lacrosse ball, quad, stomach, pulling yourself deeper, and you'll get about 10 to 15 more degrees. So don't expect like folding to the floor. You're going to get a little bit, and you'll feel that end range. So again, as you do the rails contraction, you want that scale underneath the ankle to read 0, so you're pulling it up. You can bend the knee up a little bit more, trying to get this tissue and this tissue to squeeze this ball, not letting me pull it out, and pull yourself deeper into that hamstring stretch. All right. So now that you've felt that, we're going to do that again. So you're still hanging out in that end range where you acquired 10 to 15 more degrees. And we're gonna go ahead and ramp up another pales contraction. Driving the heel down to 25%. 50, nice and smooth. 75. Max, drive, feeling the hamstring, freeze. We're gonna switch, rate that scale 0, rails, pull up, pull yourself deeper. And relax. Good, and come up. All right, so you guys might have felt a really nice, sneaky hip cramp come up, okay? So it may have happened right in your hip flexors where basically you're pulling yourself into a stretch that is pretty end range here for you, and you might not be used to using these muscles in that range, so hip cramp. So that's why that happens. Hip cramps are your friend. All cramps are your friend, especially in mobility training, but it's a sign for you that you are getting stronger within those ranges. So we did that. We're going to go ahead with the left leg. All right, so same thing. Bring the right foot in, left heel on the ground, and we're going to make sure the foot's in frame. Micro bend in the knee, heel down, and we're just going to passively stretch here. Again, leading with the chest, micro bend, bowing and targeting the stretch right in the mid belly of the hamstring. Again, we're not contracting, driving, radiating, or anything right here. We're just passively hanging out. Good. and then we're going to work on a pales contraction. So again, targeting that stretch. Go ahead and grab that lacrosse ball, tennis ball, shoe, rolled up sweatpants, whatever you want to put in that hip crease. Okay, so we just got some light squeezing in there, nothing too serious except for when we do the rails, we're really gonna squeeze that in. All right, so bending the knee, tall chest, lead with chest, and we're slowly ramping that heel down for a pales contraction. Slowly ramping it up to 50%. 75%, driving that heel down. Max, drive, feel in the belly of your hamstring. Push, 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 push. Rails, scale read 0, smash the ball, and pull yourself deeper. Pull, 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 pull. And relax. Return to your belly breathing. Try and stay in this if you can. If you got a nice little hip cramp there that snuck up on you, try and stay in it. If you have to come out, totally fine. You can still get the benefit of this stuff. Good, we're gonna hang out here for another 30 seconds or so. All right, and we're gonna again ramp that pales contraction of the heel into the ground, micro bend in the knee. We got about 10 to 15 degrees further. We're gonna start to ramp that heel down, 25, 50, 75, drive it down, maxed. Pull, 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 pull. Freeze, keep that contraction. Now we're gonna read this 0, squeeze the ball, rails, pull, pull. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Woo! Oh, hip cramp. All right, that was nice. Okay, so that's pales and rails, just with the leg extended in like a figure 4. Now what we're gonna do is experiment a little bit, same thing, just some different orientation. So I did this in a class, when was that? This past Sunday, and we got some serious hip cramps. It was awesome. So we're gonna see if we can experience a little bit of that here. So what we're gonna do is on our backs, feet flat on the ground. We're gonna grab that tennis ball or lacrosse ball, go ahead and put it in that hip crease. So some things to keep in mind here. All right, so the closer you put the ball to the hip crease, the easier it's gonna be. The further up the thigh you place it, the harder and quite near impossible it's going to be. Okay, so if you've got that range, go ahead and put it up here. If you're starting out or you just don't know what to expect, place it right in that hip crease. All right, left foot's flat on the ground, and what we're going to do is start to squeeze that quad in that ball against your core. And again, we're going to be ramping up, radiating here, so squeezing the core, squeezing the quads, squeezing the fists. Keep the toes pointed. So as we start to extend, I want you to keep this ball squeezing at the same tension. So as people start to extend up, a lot of times they will lose the squeeze here because they're focusing on just the stretching here. So I want you to keep that same exact squeeze as you go up, and you're gonna come to the top, and you're gonna shake a little bit and come back down. All right, so we're gonna do it all together now. Place the ball in the hip crease. Deep belly breath in. Exhale. Pack it down, squeeze, radiate the core, thigh, point the toes. Keep that tension on the ball, squeeze, nice and slowly extend. Keep that squeeze, keep that squeeze. Get to that end range. Get those shimmy shakes. Keep squeezing, don't let me pull it out. Re-squeeze. Come down. Woo! Oh man, all right, so I got serious calf cramp, serious arch cramp there. A little bit here, but yeah, again, cramps can be pretty intense, but again, it's a sign for you that you are getting stronger and your body's in unfamiliar territory, and you'll actually get some cool mobility gains. So We're gonna do that again. I know, right? If I wasn't doing it, you'd probably be mad at me, but I'm doing it so you can't be. Left leg down, lacrosse ball in the hip crease. Keep that. Again, if you're measuring the amount of squeeze as you come up, if you start to lose that percentage of squeeze, re-squeeze it down. You might get a little hip cramp, but try and work through that. All right. Toes pointed, deep inhale. Exhale. Squeeze, irradiate. Thigh, ball, core. Extend. Nice and slow. Keep that percentage there. Challenge yourself. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Re-squeeze that ball. And come down. Cool. Left leg. Come this way. Whew. I'm sweating. I don't know about you guys, but this is hard work. All right. So, left hip crease. You know what to do. Keep the toes pointed. Deep belly inhale. Exhale. Irradiate. Thigh, ball, core. Squeeze. Keep that squeeze. Keep the squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come down. Re-squeeze. And down. Whew. 2 recovery breaths. Lacrosse ball, hip crease, toes pointed. Deep belly breath. Exhale. Radiate, squeeze, toes pointed. Nice and slow. Squeeze, squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Nice and slow. Down. All right. So we're going to go back to the right leg. You're like, when is this video over? Just a little bit more. All right. So same thing, just different orientation and different play with gravity. All right. So got the lacrosse ball here. Again, closer to the hip crease you are, the more friendly you are going to be to yourself. All right, so same thing. Now, something to keep in mind is the angle that you choose, okay? So this is a pretty acute angle, okay? Not a cute angle, but an acute angle. So think back to geometry. So the angle of my leg, angle of my torso, is pretty narrow. Now, if I sit back and open up that angle, it's going to be a lot more forgiving, okay? So wherever you are, and you can experiment, but whatever angle you decide to go with, I want you to stick to your guns and stay with that range and not lean back as you go through, but to own it, okay? So I'm going to pick about here. We'll see how that goes. So again, placing that hip crease. And same thing we're going to be doing is extending the leg. Now it's just a little bit of a different orientation play with gravity. All right, so arms behind, tall spine, deep belly breath out. Exhale, pack it down, hover that right foot. Extend. Squeeze that ball, hold. I don't know how I'm talking. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Down. All right, good. So something I should have said earlier, I think it was probably in one of the other videos, but I had a one-on-one client asking about breathing. So with breathing, when I say deep belly breath in and the belly expands and exhale, pack it down, imagine like you're squeezing a Capri Sun, okay? I've said a box of Franzia, but for people who don't drink crappy wine, that was me like back in college, so it's 5 years ago, so you know, I'm kind of exempt from that now. But you know, if you take the bladder out of the Franzia and you squeeze it to try and get that pretty crummy wine out of there, that's what I want you to imagine with your lungs and your core. You take the inhale, exhale, squeeze it. Now from there, you're radiating your core. You put that corset on. We're like one of those weird wraps that people try and sell you. And you've got that on, and so you're like, great, now how do I breathe, Clayton? Great question. So now you're keeping that in, and you're gonna be doing shallow chest breathing, okay? So you're gonna be really working here, but you're still supposed to breathe. It's just not gonna be this huge belly breath that's more synonymous with, vagal tone and parasympathetic response. So that's gonna be the more rest and relaxation, deep belly breathing. Here we're working, okay? So you're gonna be doing more of that short, shallow breath, still getting oxygen to your body, but that was a question that I wanted to address. All right, take that ball, one more time. Deep belly breath in, exhale, squeeze out that Capri Sun, keep it in, shallow chest breathing, hover the right foot, point the toes, squeeze that ball, do not let me pull it out, keep that squeeze, hold, own that angle, 3, 2, 1, down. Whew. All right, so you can see I'm shaking, sweating. That's work. That's your body generating that force and working. All right, so left leg, left hip crease. Choose your destiny. Deep inhale here. Exhale. Radiate, pack it down, hover, squeeze that ball. Do not let go. I'm trying to pull it out. Keep that squeeze, keep that squeeze. 2, 1, whoo, down. 2 recovery breaths. Good, last one, guys, and then you can go hang out on the couch. Deep belly breath in. Exhale. Pack it down, squeeze it, point the toes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly down. Whew. All right. So that is some good hip cramp stuff, and getting front body, hip flexors, quads, core, psoas, all of those to try and get you deeper into unlocking those hamstrings, okay? The other thing I will say about hamstrings is that just stretching your hamstrings, like people say I have tight hamstrings or I've got tight hip flexors. Most likely you don't. Most likely those areas need to be actually strengthened. So this is a great way to strengthen your hip flexors. So instead of, doing lunges until the cows come home and saying my hip flexors don't feel any better, they probably need strengthened. So doing work like this will really help. Same thing with your hamstrings, feeling always tight. Yeah, this will help you get deeper into the hamstrings in that active range of motion, but we also want to strengthen the hamstrings. That wasn't covered in this video. That'll be another video coming out. But also check that knee mobility. I think it was knee mobility part 1. We get into active hip extension with that knee flexion. So give that a look. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me, Clayton@deskrx.net. And yeah, hope you guys had fun. See ya.